The Legions of Athena, Chapter 15. It was 3 hours after midnight, and the city of Athens had finally fallen asleep. Even the late-night parties and events held by the city to keep its massive population of tourists entertained had ended by now. The streets, which had been left littered with garbage, were being cleaned by robots and self-operating garbage trucks. Other than a passed-out drunk on the pavement, there were only 2 other people in the streets now. One wore a dull gray suit that even a mortician would find dreary, while the other wore a green t-shirt with a cartoon image of a sphinx asking, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" Anyone who saw them would agree that Charon and Hypnos made an odd duo. "You know, maybe we should make our garbage system robotic," Hypnos said. Charon, who was busy doing accounts in a little book as they walked, responded with little interest. "We have zombies. They work just as well. But that's the thing. They're zombies," Hypnos argued. "Sometimes they add a bit of themselves to the garbage they're collecting, and don't tell me it's not in the budget. Pluto is the richest country in the world. It's not a matter of money. It's not necessary. The zombies have been working fine for hundreds of years, and they work for free." "Well, it's not like they're smart enough to form a union," Hypnos muttered. "I'm just saying we might have more visitors if we didn't have the undead crawling all over the place." Charon did not respond to this. What little interest he had in the conversation had disappeared completely as a dark figure appeared at the end of the street. "Is that?" Charon said. "Oh yeah," Hypnos replied and readied himself for an attack. He knew that the attack was certain. He just didn't know from which direction. In the blink of an eye, the figure disappeared. "Here it comes," Hypnos thought to himself. Was it from the left or above? No, from behind. The god of sleep turned, and he was right. The cloaked figure was behind him. But before he could do much else, he took a knee right to his stomach. Instinctively he used his sleep magic, which would have left most men unconscious, but this one was unfazed. The man in black then grabbed Hypnos by the collar and punched him hard on the face, which was enough to put him on the ground. Before the sleep god could get back on his feet, the man in black had a large sickle to his throat. "All right already," Hypnos said, more annoyed than concerned. "You win. Are you happy now, brother?" Hypnos was used to this. While most brothers welcomed one another with a hello or a hug, his routinely tried to kill him instead. Once his brother had removed the scythe-shaped blade from his throat, he got up. "Was that really necessary?" Hypnos asked. His brother did not respond. He just stood there wearing his long black hooded trench coat. Not even a bit of skin was seen. Everything on him was black, except for his helmet. The helmet, in complete contrast, was white as a skull to be precise. It was shaped like a skull, too. He wished that his brother's helmet's relations with skulls ended there, but he knew better. The helmet had been forged with the bones of many dead beasts and men, all of whom his brother had slain himself. The helmet had been forged with dark magic that heightened his senses as well. There was a rumor within the underworld that he could even tell if a person was lying because he could hear their heartbeat. And Hypnos knew it was no rumor. The scythe blade on his arm was not ordinary either. It was made from the rare black metal from the bottom of the river Styx, the same metal that was used to forge the armor of Achilles and the staff of Lord Hades. But the man in black was infinitely dangerous even without all this. After all, he was the leader of the 5 capo regimes of Don Hades. Thanatos, the god of death. Slow, weak, disoriented, Thanatos finally assessed and turned to greet Charon. Hypnos knew what these words meant. It was his brother's evaluation of how he had defended himself moments ago. In the countless times he had received these reviews, never had he heard a positive word either. "What a surprise," Hypnos barked. "You're late. You know that. Guess nobody's perfect." Charon silenced Hypnos with a sharp look and then turned to the death god. "You were asked to arrive in the city before the ceremony, were you not?" Charon asked. "As I did. But I felt staying in the shadows would prove to be a better strategy, just in case." Charon nodded to this and said, "Then you are aware of all the high-level variables within the city?" "Triton, Helen, Apollo," informed Hypnos. "In addition to Athena's own council, of course." "Yes, Achilles is here as well," Charon added. "He might prove troublesome for our alliance. He was never fond of us, and Athena does not take his words lightly." Thanatos nodded and said, "I have reason to believe Perseus is here as well." Charon's eyes widened at this. Thanatos didn't become the leader of the capos without reason, and his information was never wrong. "Are you certain?" Charon asked, and Thanatos nodded. "Perseus? I thought he retired. Last I heard he was breeding Pegasi in the middle of nowhere." Hypnos wondered. "Maybe he's just visiting the festival," he guessed. "I doubt such coincidences take place in the world. If anything, someone with a lot of pull brought him out of retirement. With so many powerful players on board, this should be an interesting festival," Charon said. Hypnos did not like any of this. Charon was not particularly strong, but he more than made up for it with his cunning. That had earned him a lot of respect in the underworld, and his absolute loyalty to the Dawn was unquestionable. But there was something amiss about this mission to Athens. When Charon had asked to accompany him here, he did not think much of it, but now it seemed the city had a lot going on under its surface. Somehow Charon was unfazed. I also wish to report on my mission in Vulcan, Thanatos said. The Darwin Mafia known as the Dirt Picks has been dealt with. This was the first time Hypnos was hearing about this. He knew his brother had been on a mission for nearly a month, but he didn't know the specifics. Define dealt with, grilled Hypnos. As in they no longer exist, Thanatos replied coldly. I don't suppose you showed them the error of their ways and converted them to upstanding citizens of society, did you? Hypnos continued. Shut up, Hypnos, Sharon said. You may continue. How many victims? 174, Thanatos said with no emotion, as if killing over 100 people in a month was monotonous news. No loose ends then, Karen stated. No witnesses, I presume? 2, Thanatos said. Both of them were surprised by this answer. Hypnos knew his brother to be a very competent man, and it wasn't like him to leave witnesses. On the off chance that he was seen, they were usually added to the pile of victims. Care to explain? Sharon asked. 2 children were being held as prisoners in one of their bases. I did not find it necessary to kill them, Thanatos replied. Hypnos was relieved to hear this. So you don't kill children. It's nice to know you draw the line somewhere. I have killed children before, but only when necessary, the death god said coldly. Hypnos grew furious at these words. When was it ever a necessity to kill children? He fumed. Hypnos, that is enough. We have more important matters to discuss than work ethics, Charon interjected. I agree, Thanatos said. I have a question myself. Why the annihilation of the Dirt Picks now? I learned that the Avenger was given similar missions of removing smaller mafias in other countries as well. Think of it as a safety precaution, Karen advised. The winds of change are upon us, and when it forms a storm and hits our ship, I do not want to be worrying about the rats below the deck. He really does like the name ferryman, Hypnos thought to himself. Charon always did give cryptic answers like this, and they always had something to do with boats or water. But Hypnos was surprised to hear that more of the capos were sent on similar missions. Why was I not informed of any of this? Hypnos demanded. Because the information does not concern you, Sleepwalker, replied Thanatos. Sleepwalker was his code name within the ranks of Hades. All the capos had one as to keep, their identities a mystery like Avenger, but Hypnos did not like his own brother calling him that. It made it feel as if all they had been through before joining Hades was forgotten. Sorry I asked, Reaper, he said, gritting his teeth. The reason you weren't informed was because the orders weren't official, Karen replied. Hypnos' eyes widened. The orders were not from the Dawn? No, I gave them myself, Karen admitted. Hypnos was finding the situation more confusing by the minute. Taking out the smaller mafias is certainly a beneficial move for them, so why do it behind the Dawn's back? Because of the Queen, Karen answered, seeing his suspicious look. The Queen would not like it if her husband sanctioned a massacre. Hypnos laughed at this. Now he got it. So the Dawn did give the orders, only in secret. This way our enemies are dealt with, and the Dawn keeps his word to his wife about being more peaceful. Karen gave a sly grin at this. I will be punished for my actions, of course, suspended from my duties for at least a month. More like a vacation, if you ask me, Hypnos retorted. If we could move on, Thanatos interrupted. What are our orders now? Sharon started walking back again in the direction of the luxury hotel they were staying at, and the other 2 followed. We wait and watch, Karen said, but only in shallow waters. With so many sharks in the sea, it would be best if we didn't swim too deep. Again with the stupid ferryman quotes, Hypnos thought to himself as the 3 men from the underworld began to fade into the darkness. This has been a chapter from Book 2 of the new World Odyssey Series, The Legions of Athena. Links to the books in the bio. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you in the next chapter.